Hi, my name is Divya Sachdeva. Today we are in conversation with Mr. Ritvik Mishra, and let me give a brief introduction. He has worked for UNDP and World Bank initiatives. He has also served in the governance unit of Cabinet Secretariat. I've heard about policies, laws, promises, but when I met him, I heard something rare. Sir, I would like you to share your point of view with the audience.
It's really very interesting the moment you people came to me and you started talking about the government and the initiatives that the government is doing. It's quite rare even from the other side to hear something like that. People interested in what the government is doing, how the government can do it better. And also how all the stakeholders, including the people, can be, brought together and then we can do something about it. So when you talk about the governments, I remember this interview which Fareed Zakaria was taking of Nandan Nilekani. Nandan Nilekani, UIDA, Aadhaar, he did a lot of things. So he said that now that you are in the heart of the Indian government, what do you think? How is it different from the private sector? So he said that in the private sector, things are very easy, You convince your boss, your juniors, your colleagues, a few stakeholders, the job is done. In the government, especially in a country like India, it becomes way more difficult. And difficult how? Forget about the juniors. There are billions of people that you have to convince. If your idea fails, it affects all of them. If it works, then obviously they're all good. So, my purpose of coming here and talking about this thing is the fact that we have a recent government in place.
Yeah.
We were led by UPA, they had two terms, and then we have the NDA government. When we talk about the new government, one cannot but mention I feel like one of the most charismatic leaders of our time, Mr. Narendra Modi. He's there leading the government, it's a great thing. And when you talk about how things have transitioned from what we had in the UPA government to what we have in the NDA government, one really feels that Mr. Narendra Modi is a ray of hope for us. Not to sound overcritical, but there were certain major policy failures and implementation was nowhere to be seen at the time of the previous government. Now we have all that in place, we have a charismatic leader, the world knows about him, the world knows about us. But, this entire discussion, I feel, to have some value added to the entire conversation, we should go a step beyond that. Whenever people talk to me about the new government, they always talk to me about these catchy slogans that the government, you know about it, right?
Yeah.
Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Namami Gange, Make in India. Man, these things, they sound grand, don't they? The problem with our country is that this is not the first time we have been coining slogans. We have been coining slogans since the day we got independence. We have been talking about that. When you talk about something like Make in India, are you telling me that this is the first time you're talking about Make in India? I don't think so. You talk about the time of our Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He was the one who started the HMT watches. He was the one who said that let us manufacture ambassador cars, just make in India. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan started since the time, the father of the nation, Mr. Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, he said that you should have proper latrines. That is Swachhta from that time. You talk about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, always we had a big problem. Female feticide, we have too much awareness about it, the laws about female feticide. So these are not some things that, these are not things that we have heard for the first time. We've already heard about it.
So do you think that they are implementing it the way they promised?
That's a very good question. See, when you talk about all these things, you will come to me and say, Mr. Mishra, I think we have heard about these things. Maybe you're talking about, old wine and the new bottle. But, it boils down to implementation. Obviously, I'll have to be a little politically correct, but not that much. But yes, implementation has been a problem in our country. When you talk about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the problem in our country has never been to make 2,000 toilets in a village. We all know that is necessary. We have to do that. Or the problem is not that when you go to a government hospital and you choose a private hospital over the government hospital, the only reason is that you get more cleanliness. If you have the money, if you have that kind of money to share, then you go to a private hospital. So the problem has always been how to implement these things. Now let me just, try to make it more precise and concise it a little bit. When you talk about a very grand vision, for example, if I talk about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, one primary thing that comes to my mind is what are the steps that the government has taken to implement them? Right? That is a basic thing that anybody. As a normal citizen of India, I would also want to have the liberty to kind of see these things in the public domain. That okay, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan sounds great, but what is the government doing? Is there anything like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? These are the 10 things that we are going to do to achieve it. Unfortunately, that thing is not only missing in the public domain, but I unfortunately feel that the government also does not have a very clear strategy to implement its grand vision. You know, one thing that we always fail to understand, that we should really understand, is the fact that policies have never been the problem. You know,
Never.
we have always had policies. The point has always been in implementing them. And implementation becomes a problem when in a country like India, which is based on such strong beliefs, you have to really shake it from the bottom. You know, the iron frame on which the country itself is standing, right? Talk about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. I mean, how would I ever be able to tell my neighbor not to throw something out on the street, throw it in a dustbin? Now, this is shaking the belief on which you have, you know, spent your entire life on. Nonetheless, I'm diverting from the fact that these are all social things. I mean, I'm saying that implementation right now is the problem. We have these grand visions. I'm just not sure how the government wants to implement it.
So what do you think? What should be done for the implementation?
You're putting me on the spot here. So, my personal belief, and I mean, economists around the world, they believe that, you know, you talk about development recipe, what causes a country to develop. There's no specific recipe to that. The only way a country develops, or the country will develop faster than others, are the countries where the gap between rhetoric and action is the minimum. What you say, you do. How do you do that? You need to have proper accountability mechanisms for it. So when you're asking me that, you know, Ritvik, well, this is again common sense that we have to implement, but how do we implement is your question.
Yeah.
There are various things that we can do regarding that. One of the primary things that come to my mind, and which has already happened in India, is the system of Memorandum of Understanding, MOUs. Everybody has heard of it. MOU was after the Arjun Sen Gupta Committee. 1986 was the first time when, you know, PSUs were coming up. We were signing MOUs with them. The reason for MOU is that if I'm giving a company which is giving me a turnover of 5,000 crore rupees, you've seen Spider-Man, right? With greater powers come greater responsibility. Making someone responsible also give him a little bit of power. You cannot ask me to change the world without giving me no power, you know. I could be a crusader, maybe facilitate change, but I could not be the person who can actually make changes happen. So if the company is having a turnover like that, 5,000 crore, I need to give them some autonomy. How do you give autonomy? You do that by fixing accountability. I said, Divya, I don't have a problem in lending you like, say, 50,000 rupees, but what are you going to do with 50,000 rupees is going to be pre-negotiated between the both of us. That system is still going on. I mean, PSUs, you have more than 200 PSUs right now. They have categorized into Maharatna, Navratna, Mini Ratna, depending on the turnover that they have in the profit. And that has taken the country really far. My only point is, why can't we have something like that in the government? I mean, wouldn't I be really happy if the secretary of a particular department signs an MOU with the minister saying that this is what I'm going to perform for this year for my department? Let me make it more precise. You talk about Namami Gange, which means Ganga ko saaf karo. This initiative has been going on since the past I don't know how many years. Problem again is implementation. The ministry responsible for this is the Ministry of Water Resources and Ganga Rejuvenation. They have recoined the name, which is being led by the Minister, Mrs. Uma Bharti. Great initiative. Would I be really happy if the minister kind of signed a contract with the secretary saying that this is what I'm going to do for the particular year that we are signing a contract, कि ये सब हम करेंगे, and that will lead to the cleaning of the Ganga. I mean, I'm just talking about fixing objectives. Now, I cannot really believe that if I go to a particular organization or a department and if I ask the secretary कि आपके objectives क्या है per year के, he cannot deny that. I mean, if you're running a department, you'll be mighty sure, I mean, what are the objectives of that department, right? I just feel that if you can put it, and this is not the first time we are doing it. I mean, you know, private sectors, they have their KPIs, the performance against which is judged, like key performance indicators. Why can't we have them for the government? I mean, you promised, and let me set the ball rolling here. You know, ministers are actually the people who represent the people's mandate. The secretaries to the Government of India, IS officers most probably, are the ones who are responsible for implementing the mandate. I'm just saying have a contract between the minister and the secretary. What are you going to do? What baffles me a lot is if you remember, Prime Minister, when he took an oath, He said that after 1 year I'll be back with my report card, right? He said that I'll be back with my report card. Now report card to you and me mean numbers. बचपन में तो report card ऐसी होती थी. I mean, I remember getting scolded by my parents because of my report card. It was numbers, It kind of separates, the milk from the water, the grain from the. So I just feel that when he spoke about numbers, I was really happy. But can I ask you something? Is it a mechanism right now in the Indian government with which you can rank all the departments in ascending and descending order? No, you cannot.
Why not?
Right now you cannot, I'm saying. I mean, you should not. I mean, I really feel what you're saying. I share the same passion. I ask the same question, why not? I mean, but the problem is that we are not doing it right now.
Why is it not happening?
It's not happening right now because because people are not thinking about it. And let me tell you, I'll be entirely hiding the facts if I say that it is not happening. In 2009, we had something called the RFDs, Results Framework Document. And they were actually performance contracts for each and every department. Unbelievable is that we also scored these departments, right? But unfortunately at that time it was a policy decision not to declare those results.
Okay.
And let me give you, and if you think that I'm lying, go to any website of any department of the Government of India, some might have taken it off. They have a separate section for R&Ds. You go from 2009 to 2014, you'll have an idea of what these departments are doing. I think that is transparency. That is transparency.
So why is it not happening again?
So personally, I feel that for something like this, an RFD is a trickle down approach. In the Government of India, you cannot think that you will make a section officer accountable and then the minister will become accountable. It's the other way around. If the minister is accountable, the secretary is accountable, the secretary, additional secretary, it trickles down, That is how we move forward. Unfortunately, like my boss will always tell you that we had a perfect MIG stealth bomber with all infrared, all these things. But unfortunately, the pilot was missing. And pilot here, by pilot I mean leadership. So this is a leadership issue. It was started in the UPA government's time, and unfortunately, right now it's in silos. And RIT, I know the next question you will come at me would be that, is this the only thing that we people have started, or is it somewhere around the globe that this is happening? So let me tell you, this is a normal practice. We call it performance contracting, performance agreement. Countries around the world have it. They have it. But before that, there's a question which you asked me, that why is that not happening?
Yes.
You remember you asking me that? The country that we are living in, for a process to sustain, you need a system. And for the system to finally sustain, you need a legislation. Legislation is something that is, you become completely indifferent of the political parties that you are having. If it's a legislation, you have to do it either ways. Where the RFD policy failed, the performance agreement which was started in India, and I was very fortunate to be a part of it, where that failed was because we didn't have a legislation. It gave the liberty to a new party which was coming into the system to say that, okay, we'll start something new. See, I tell you, maybe I'm talking about a million things, but nobody likes performance management. Nobody likes being that transparent and accountable. I may be saying 100 things here, but if it came to me, and if you came into the room saying that I'll manage your performance and monitor you, you'll be my biggest enemy on the planet. Nobody likes being monitored, right? It's a human trait. So, yeah.
So the thing is that I've been hearing different news about Prime Minister, and he has a good vision, he's coming up with new things. It's been 2 years. You are at a right post to tell me, are they exactly executing it, or is this a vision?
So, I mean, there would be a lot of other people at a position which is way better than me to explain it to you further. But my perspective of a commoner with someone who has worked a little with the government would try to answer that question. There are a lot of things which the Prime Minister has been able to control, and again, let me be very frank with you, this is just the start. As I said from the beginning of this argument, that the vision is great, the problem is implementation. There are certain things which we have been able to solve, which is, for example, you would not have heard anything about corruption going on. These are certain small things, but again, as I say that these are cosmetic changes, And the things that we are talking about, implementing this grand vision of Namami Gange, Swachh Bharat, Make in India, it's like the change in the DNA of the country. Cosmetic changes, you go in, to a beautician or a therapist, they'll just do something, a nose job or something, you'll be perfectly fine. DNA changes is something that takes time. It cannot happen by going to a clinic. So we are talking about DNA changes here.
But do you think that if the ministries are doing their work, and do you think people are interested in doing the same thing?
No, so see, as I said, that accountability never trickles up, it goes down. You have to set an example. When you talk about ministry, they have to take the first step in terms of implementing the policies that they have promised. See, that is another problem. You raise a very important point. You know that when we go out and vote in an election, I mean educated people like me and you, we base our votes on something that is called an election manifesto. Election manifesto lists out the programs or the policies or the vision that the particular party will have when it gets into power. I really feel that that is a highly misleading document because there is no legal compliance, there is no legal binding, right? I mean, I could claim anything, come into power, and do nothing that is mentioned in my document, right? So, what you're saying is very important in the sense that yes, first of all, if I'm coming in as a party and I'm like, I have to fulfill my promises. If I do that, I mean, if I make systems in a proper way, people are bound to follow them. I mean, there's no other way. Why do you think, I mean, just tell me something. You have taken a ride in the Delhi metro, right?
Yeah.
You've been in the Delhi metro. Have you seen anybody spitting inside the metro?
No, I haven't.
Why is that?
Exactly.
It's the implementation. You'll be kicked out.
But I've seen people littering things on the street.
On the street, and on the railway station. But why doesn't the same happen on the airport? Why doesn't it? Why not at the metro? There are systems. I'm a systems man. I don't like talking about things. I'm just saying that what happens when me and you leave? What happens when the Honorable Prime Minister leaves? It is not necessary that we get a second person who is as zealous as he is, who is as passionate about the country as he is. I'm just saying that during this tenure which you have got, just make systems. Systems that matter, systems that are self-operational. And that is the point where I was talking about the legislation. Country, New Zealand. Public Finance Act of 1989. You're bound by that act to make performance contract or agreement. Government Performance and Results Act, Modernization Act in the USA 2002, signed 1991. Again the same, you need to have a performance agreement, you need to perform. And that is why the countries are progressing so far. I feel that right now in my country, people are not doing their job because there's no accountability. I remember a former Cabinet Secretary, I happened to be a part of him, the meeting which he was taking, he said one thing. He was addressing students. He said that government jobs have become like a headless nail. It's easy to get in but nearly impossible to take you out. So without any fear of these kind of things, how do you think, without accountability, you think someone would be taking responsibility? I don't think so. So these are certain things. So when I talk about performance contract, R&D, these are the best way to bind a person. When you've listed your objective for the year, 10 objectives, 12 objectives, you cannot back out from it, right?
Exactly.
You're stuck. You're stuck.
And how do you think other countries are different with their policies and their executions in our country?
See, the answer to that question lies in the question itself. The thing is that policy is the same, they are different because they execute it properly. You think our health policies are bad, they are brilliant. You think our police reforms are bad, it's brilliant. We have taken everything from around the world and that is how policies are made and I'm up for it. You see which are the best policies around the world and you just, collect the things which are relevant to your country and you make it. The problem, which you and I agree, is implementation and execution.
But why is that procrastination is in our DNA?
I mean, it's very difficult for me to answer that because that's again, it could be a social problem or something, but I always say one thing, to my colleagues that if I leave a jar of cookie open, then the kid will come and take cookies from it. If he's not taking out cookies, then he's abnormal, right? Taking out cookies is also, we have left this jar open for anyone to come and do anything. We have to create systems that are self-sustaining. You have to work around the systems, you have to work around the creation of these systems and finally converting these systems into legislations. That is the only way forward. For example, if I leave, then what happens next? If I don't create a legislation, nothing will happen. If there's a legislation around it, then it continues. It doesn't require Ritvik Mishra or Divya to make it, to take it forward, right? It continues. You asked me a very relevant question that how do countries around the world do it? Very interesting. The first thing is they believe in execution. Execution done how? There are various tools to do it. I talked about performance agreements. They are one way you're bound by the contract. A person can go to the website of any ministry and see कि इन्होंने क्या promise किया हुआ है. I think that assures me. I have a very interesting story to tell you and answer me after this. If you're flying in a Air India flight and there's a slight turbulence and everything, and you're tying your seatbelt and everything, and if the pilot is not speaking to you, would you prefer that, or would you prefer traveling in Lufthansa, where if there's a small turbulence, the handsome-looking pilot, he comes on the mic, he says that, ladies and gentlemen, there's a small turbulence, don't worry, we'll be out of this thing in a while. Which plane would you like to be seated in? The Lufthansa one, because people are talking. So you have to be open, transparent for people. I mean, I'm so skeptical. The moment I'm going out and reading about these programs, my heart really sinks as to, where will this lead us? Because I see a grand vision, but I necessarily don't see a road or a path to achieving that grand vision.
And what do you think about the Second Administrative Reform Commission?
See, Reforms Commission, as you all know, it's a recommendation, and more interesting than the Second Administrative Reform. And by the way, the 14th chapter of the Second Administrative Reforms Commission talks about performance agreements, which I'm talking about.
Okay.
So this is this is not a rocket science that I'm talking about. People already know it. Somewhere we are lacking in implementing these things. But very interestingly, more than that, the 7th Central Pay Commission, it also talks about things that are very interesting. For example, it talks about performance-related incentive schemes. The private sector is doing so well because your salaries and your incentives depend upon what you work, right? Now, in the government of India, there is no such thing. Irrespective of me doing a good job or a bad job, I'll still get my salary. There is, during my short time in the government, there was also a very good saying that the only reward for you working good in government is that you get more work. There's no financial reward. So I think somewhere that is also lacking, and the 7th Central Pay Commission had also said something about PRIS, which is performance-related incentive schemes. It said that the performance of the department will be linked to individual performance. I think that's a good idea, isn't it? When you are incentivized, you perform more. And there's nothing wrong in it. Your targets are set. I feel Prime Minister or the Chief Minister should operate like CEOs of companies. They should have well-designed system, KPI set. At the end of the year, they just come out, open a piece of paper, ask the secretary or the minister that this is what you committed and this is what you're doing. I'm not saying anything, this is what the paper said. You said it yourself in the beginning of the year.
I'm still stuck with one question, that foreign countries, what's the reason they implement it?
Yeah.
What we are lacking there?
So, the first thing is obviously you need to have that kind of, you need to be committed to the cause. And then the question here should be slightly modified by asking me something like, how are they able to do it? So in principle, there are different tools. I'm not the first person talking about it. As I said, that these people are running their countries like chief executive officers of companies. The people know what they are doing. Things are set, beforehand. So I also feel that, there are certain things. For example, I'll just give you a small example. Let's say that you are the Minister of Road Transport and Highways and I'm your secretary. You say that, okay, let us build a target, let us build 700 kilometers of road. Now, if I build 600 kilometers of road, is my performance good or bad? It depends. If you really like me, you will say that, Ritvik, it doesn't matter, let's have a glass of beer, right? If you don't really like me, you'll say that, Mr. Mishra, you're a really good man, but you never actually meet your targets. So this becomes subjective. I am saying that why can't we agree on the deviations of achieving these things ex ante rather than doing it ex post? In the beginning of my year, you say, as a minister, that if you're able to make 700 kilometers of road, performance excellent. 600, very good. Below 500, you're poor. So there's no subjectivity, right? It's objective. I do my work, I get my returns, right? So the countries which are developing faster or which are able to do these things, as I said in the beginning, are countries where the gap between rhetoric and action is the minimum. They have rules, they have regulations, they have well-designed systems, they have legislations to back it up. I give you the example of New Zealand, which has the Public Finance Act of 1989, contracts there. America, again, Government Performance Result Act of 1991, and they're not like they're leaving it there. They recently had a Modernization Act of 2002. So these are countries, tools are available, we just need to bring it in and we need to move forward. I'm not saying that the country is not moving in the right direction. Obviously, it's a big step from what we were to what we are. But I'm just saying that I'm not one of those people who get fascinated by comparing my country to countries which are not developed. I rather compare my countries to America or New Zealand, and I want my country to be there, and we will be there. When we start implementing these systems.
When we met for the first time, you said talking about the policies is monotonous, and now we should start implementing it. My last question would be, what are you doing for the implementation?
So, it's a long story. It has been a journey till now. I started my career, as being a part of the governance unit of the Cabinet Secretariat. I was a part of the R&D initiative. We were able to do it for the 78 departments of the Government of India, the performance contracting, and 16 states. Not only this, we were helping a lot of foreign governments in doing it. We implemented the same system in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and Bhutan, and they are at various stages of implementation. So it has been a good journey, but I just feel that I need to keep moving forward and help wherever I can, because I personally feel that we people are like public commodities. This is a public service because I personally feel that in the future, race amongst the countries will not be won by the resources that they'll have, but it will be won by the effective government channels and the government institutions that they will be creating, and that can only happen through the design system and implementations.
So you're just 25 years old and your vision is very impressive, and if everybody thinks like you, I'm sure we can make a difference.
So are you. I mean, I can think about many people who can think like that. But I'm just saying that a lot of people think like that. These are common issues. We all are plagued by it. My only stand is, why can't we do something to deal with it, right?
Exactly.
One is deal with it and one is deal with it.
Deal with it.
We're going to deal with it.
Exactly. Thanks for coming, sir.
Thank you so much.
It's really nice.
Such a pleasure.
Same here. Thanks for watching. It was really nice talking to Mr. Ritvik Mishra. In the next episode, we'll be talking about what has been done till now to implement these policies. See you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.